Hi health professionals, how you going? Karen Finnan here. So today I thought I would just give you a rundown of the things you need to consider when you're taking your telehealth consultations on the road if you're someone who wants to be able to #live the dream and travel while you're still seeing your patients. Now, this video is not about the legal considerations. That's something that you have to work out yourself according to your country or region of registration, plus your health profession. So we can't talk about those things. They're very variable at the moment. But what I will say is there are some key things you need to consider because it's not just as easy as you think. The very first thing you need to consider is the disruption and the period of time that disruption of travel will take. So it's not just a case of I'll be on the flight between these hours and then I'm good to go either side of that. You're planning and getting ready for the trip takes time and energy. When you arrive, it takes always more than you think time to settle in, to work out Wi-Fi passwords, to work out where you're staying, to work out a local SIM card. So just be mindful of that when you're scheduling consultations. When I recently traveled, I'm here in Shanghai, China at the moment. My flight over here from Australia was delayed by 24 hours. And while I was caught up in all the, planning of that, I realized that there was a consultation that I had booked that I would have to reschedule. Now, that brings me to the next point, which is schedules and time zones. So usually your base booking calendar will be in a certain time zone. Depending on how you're able to operate with telehealth, your patient can be in another time zone and then you can be in a third time zone as well and maybe transitioning from one time zone to the next. So there are really no surefire tools to get around this just yet, but what I will say is have a good time zone calculator on your phone and really carefully check and recheck all of the times that you're available. You will need to update your schedule to your new time zone unless you want to be getting up in the middle of the night to do consultations. So again, make sure that your booking system is in a certain time zone and that where you are, you will fit in with that. Now, the third thing is the equipment. I've made a separate video about this, but because you'll be going on the road, it's important that you have some portable equipment that will still allow you to make your calls really good quality. Things from webcams and lights to laptop raisers. As I said, there's another video that you can watch on all of that stuff. Now, blocking your day is important as well. For after all, you're traveling to get out and see things. So rather than a 9 to 5, it might be that you want to work a block in the morning and then leave the afternoon free to have some flexibility to travel and sightsee. So just make some consideration for that. Also with messaging, sometimes if people are connected to Wi-Fi, they'll head out and about and not be able to receive messages if your patients are doing that. So just be considerate of when it's going to work best for you to work. And finally, I think a really important thing, I've left the most important till last. It may sound trivial, but to me, this is the most crucial thing. Make some consideration of the background that you use for your calls. When you're in hotel rooms or you're moving around or you're traveling, it's your background that conveys your professionalism. When you're in your clinic, you wouldn't have, a bunch of dirty knickers in the background or an unmade bed. And you really need to put a lot of time into thinking, what is the patient going to be seeing? If your partner's walking past the shower with his towel around his waist, that may not be the ideal thing. So how to pair that lighting, perhaps from natural windows, to something being professional in the background is really something that will chew up a lot of energy. And to each new accommodation I arrive at, it's the first thing I go. It's the first thing I check out is where can I position myself to be professional and have good lighting when I know that I need to quickly do that. All right, guys, I hope that's been interesting for you. Telehealth, of course, gives us all this flexibility and freedom, and so it's just a matter of taking a few things into consideration to make it a great experience. Thanks so much, guys. Happy travels, and I see you next time. Bye.